Engineering is the use of scientific principles to design and build. Today's video is all about paper engineering and pocket cards. Want to learn more? Stay tuned.
You are what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for.
So a pocket card is something that sort of looks like this. It's a little pocket and a card pulls out of it. In today's video, we're going to be creating pocket cards with a gift card slot holder and using my Genvelope paper engineering template book. So this is a really simple and easy way to use pattern paper to create stunning results. Let's take a peek at the pattern paper that we're going to be using today. I've got a 12 by 12 paper pack from Doodlebug Designs. This paper pack is called So Much Pun, and there are 11 double-sided cardstock sheets and 1 sheet of stickers. This paper has some really fun and cute designs. There are some solid patterns and some busy patterns. There are some cut-aparts and dots and stripes and stars and some candies and chocolates and some spaceship themed. Some really fun, versatile designs that you can create some really beautiful birthday cards. And I'm also going to be using some of the stickers from the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. Let's take a look at the Paper Engineering Template Reference Book. This book is filled with enhanced envelopes and pocket cards. So we've got multiple different sizes of both pocket cards and baronial style envelopes. And the first part of the book has the pocket cards, and I'm just going to flip over to the back to show you what a baronial style envelope looks like. So it's basically a fancy word for a triangle flapped envelope. This book is available for purchase or for download in my online store, and I'll have it linked down below. For today, we're going to be making the 5 by 7 pocket card. So we're going to be using the template here, and we're going to follow along the steps in our template book to create the pocket card. So I've picked out this pattern paper with bubblegum, candies, and chocolate, and I'm going to refer to my book. It tells me that I need a page that measures 11 by 8 inches, and we're going to make some scores. On the 11-inch side, we'll score at 5 and 10. We'll rotate the paper. On the 8-inch side, we'll score at 7. So that is step 1 in the image for the reference guide. And now let's get to cutting this paper. Now, because my paper has an orientation, I want to make sure that my pattern is facing to the left. And I'm going to cut it down to 8 inches. And then when I turn it, my pattern will be upright. And then I'm going to cut it down to 11 inches. Okay, so here we have our piece of paper that measures 8 by 11. Across the 11-inch side, we're going to score at 5 inches, and then at 10 inches, and then we'll rotate the paper 1 turn to the left and score at 7 inches. So that left side, that is going to be the top of the pocket card. So I want to make sure that my pattern is upright when I'm making these scores. So let's refer back to the template guide, and it's going to show us where we're going to have to cut off. So in those scored areas, we're going to cut off the areas that are marked in red. And it's hard to see on pattern paper, so I'm just going to go through this nice and slow for you. I'm going to follow along this score mark, starting on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to cut to that first intersecting score. And then I'm going to come in and make a slight angle cut. And then I'm going to go to the next score line, and I'm going to make a slight angle cut up to that intersecting score. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the side. I'm going to make an angle cut and another angle cut. Okay, so these are the 3 pieces that we've cut away from our piece of paper, and your paper should look like this. It should look the same as the template guide. Now keep this longer strip. We're going to come back to that in a minute. So we're going to go ahead and score all of those folds. We're going to crease them down nice and good with the bone folder and train that pattern paper to where we want it to go. So let's take a look back at the template reference guide. The next step here is to apply adhesive to those 1-inch strips to close up the pocket. Use a bone folder to burnish that adhesive in, and then use a circle punch or some scissors to create a finger notch in the top of this card. So I'm going to apply some adhesive to those 2 areas, as noted in the template guide. I'm using my favorite dot liner adhesive for this, and because this is such a wide strip, I'm making sure that I get that whole area covered. And then I'm going to fold them in and seal everything together. So far this just looks like a rectangle piece of cardstock. If anything is overhanging, we're just going to trim that away. And then I'm going to grab a circle punch and I'm going to punch out halfway through my circle to create a little tab or notch in my cardstock. Alright, so that's it for this pocket so far, and it's going to open up here where we're going to be able to slip our card inside of. And now in the template guide, it gives us the measurements for the card that slips inside of the pocket. The size that we're going to need is 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. I'm going to cut a piece of black cardstock down for the base of my pocket card to 6 7/8 of an inch, and then I'll rotate it and cut this down to 4 7/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock and cut a layer, and this measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And I'm using heavy base weight cardstock for both of these. The white cardstock I have here is Gina Designs Pure Luxury White Cardstock. It's a really nice smooth cardstock. Okay, so these are going to layer up together nicely. Before I attach them, I want to create a little pull tab using that little scrap of pattern paper. So I'm just going to cut off that little piece so that I square it up, and then I'm going to take my corner rounder and round the corners of this piece of cardstock. Now I know throughout this video I have called this cardstock. I have been informed that cardstock and pattern paper are two different things. It's just nature for me to call it so, but I think you get the idea. So I'm gonna just grab my bone folder and kind of curl this piece of paper because I want it to wrap around my piece of cardstock. I've got some dot liner here on the ends of that tab, and I'm just gonna center this up at the top of the cardstock. And then I'm gonna take a paper piercer and poke a little hole through the top of this card. I'm gonna put a little brad through here, and this brad has a cute little jewel inside of it. I've had these brads in my craft stash for quite some time, and this is actually the first time I've ever used it, so it's kind of fun. And I'm just gonna pop that brad through and then spread those two little wings, and then we're gonna sandwich this in between that black cardstock layer so we won't have to worry about anybody getting poked or hurt by it, and our little tab is gonna hold on very nicely. I'm going to decorate this card before I adhere everything together. So I have a little 1-inch strip here. This was a scrap I saved from when I was cutting up my pocket, and I'm just going to apply that to one side of my cardstock just to give it some interest, and then I use up that scrap. So I've added some dot liner to adhere this strip down, and I'm just cutting off the excess, and I'm going to use my bone folder to press that in. Next I'm going to grab a stamp set that I have in my stash, and this is from the Greetery. This is a pinwheel set that I saw Jennifer McGuire use, and I fell in love with it and I had to have it. I like the sentiment here that says "Let's Party," so I'm going to do some heat embossing with that sentiment, and I've got an anti-static powder bag that I'm just patting over my cardstock to make sure that my embossing powder only sticks where I want it to. I've got some Versamark ink, and I'm going to ink up this stamp nice and good. And then I'm going to stamp this down on my cardstock. And I'm just going to make sure I give that ink a second to transfer onto my paper. And once I think that we're good, I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to grab a scratch piece of paper and some Nouveau Sparkle embossing powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle this over top of the sentiment, and I'll tap off any of that excess. And then I've got my heat gun warming up here, and I'm going to heat emboss this glitter sentiment until it is smooth and melted. And I go from the back to the front and then to the back again. And what this is doing is heating up that paper without allowing it to warp too much. So I kind of go from the front to the back, from the front to the back, and it helps me keep my paper not so warped. And then also, because I'm using heavyweight cardstock and that black background, once I apply my adhesive onto this cardstock, if there is any warping, that black cardstock is going to help us straighten that out. So I've got my adhesive here on the back of my card, and I'm going to tack this down onto my black cardstock. And we have this beautiful black border. Our brad is sandwiched in between, and this is looking so pretty. Next, I'm going to take this little set of stars and dots from that Greetery stamp set. It's so cute. So I'm going to use a variety of inks here. I've got Gina Designs Passionate Pink, and I'm stamping those stars all over, twisting and turning. And then we're going to switch up to Gina Designs Wild Lilac, and then Lawn Fawn Fish Tank. And I'm really trying to spread those colors out and getting as much randomness as I possibly can. And then Gina Designs Lucky Clover. And then finally, Gina Designs Tangerine Twist. And I'm just stamping these little stars randomly all over that pattern paper. And I really love the way this turned out. I'm going to use a layering heart die set that I have. And I'm going to cut off a piece of that extra scrap that I have and cut out a heart die cut. And I'm just running that through my Gemini, and I have this cute little heart. And then I also have this gift card holder tab die, and this is from a Simon Says stamp release from a few years ago. And this is just going to create little notches in the side of my heart where it can hold on to my gift card. So I'm running that through my Gemini Junior die cutting machine. And then I'm going to turn it around. I want to create 3 tabs because I want my gift card to sit inside of the bottom of this little gift card notch so that when we pull the card out of the pocket, the gift card's not going to fall out. So I'm just going to slide in my gift card to make sure it fits. And there we go. Perfect. And we have 3 little notches to hold on to our gift card. So I'm going to adhere this heart down to the back of my pocket card. And I'm just using liquid glue to adhere this because I don't want it to fall off. So I want to make sure this is good and adhered. And I'll pop that onto the bottom center of my black cardstock on the back of my pocket card. And then I've also got a scrap of white cardstock. I'm going to stamp the words happy birthday. You could leave this part blank and just write a personal message on here. And then there we go. Our pocket card is complete. And let's pull in the little pocket and slide the card in to make sure everything fits nicely. It's nice and snug and super cute. The last thing I'm going to do is pull in those stickers, and I grabbed the Sweet Life, and I'm just going to mat this on some black cardstock to create a nice black border so that it stands up off of that busy pattern. And I'll glue that down to the front of my pocket card. I'm going to pop on a couple of stickers on the front here from that set, a heart and a star. And then that's it. This card project is complete. These pocket cards are super cute and so easy. Now, if you don't have any special dies for gift card holders, you can always just apply a little bit of double-sided adhesive. Now, I did notice I had a little smudge of ink on the front of my card, and I'm just using a sand eraser to buff that away, and it took that ink right off. What a beautiful little card. Something totally different and out of the ordinary. Here's a look at the pocket card that I made here today, plus my sample. These are so fun and so different. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. I appreciate the support. Linked in the description box down below are the products that I used in today's video, along with a link to purchase my paper engineering template book if you're interested. Coming up on screen is a video I think you may enjoy, showing you how to create some of those baronial style envelopes in the paper engineering book. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!